Hello and welcome to episode 21 of Fallen Dragons. Episode to be named in post production. Um, there have been a lot of changes on the channel. People coming and going. Our Josh, our tech guy, is currently down with medical issues and also Melody is off doing family stuff. So tonight, um, our party consists of Robin and Patrick. We'll see how well they get along on their own. Since it's been over a month since our last video, I will give you a short recap of what's been going on. Um, our party had been enlisted by Tiamat to bring her a large quantity of genesium, which, when refined in a certain way, will up the power of any spell you happen to cast. Tiamat thinks this is a great idea and wants to use it to take out Asmodeus and rule the Nine Hells for herself, since her and Asmodeus don't get along at all. So the party had gone to the Jakarian Inlet, which is an island full of pirates, criminals, and other slimy, shall we say, not very useful creatures. When they got there, they quite easily found the person who was the head of the black market genesium trade. But to the party's surprise, and especially Lucid when they opened the door, his old flame Claire was standing there.
This
You,
one's not surprised.
you really have to figure out how she gets around as well as she does.
You're meddling in my business again in places you should not be. Oh, there.
So, as time went on, there was a concert which
If you want to call it that.
will go will go down in the annals of history as the most chaotic event ever recorded. Um, the Iron Shadow, a hobgoblin splinter group, appeared and killed several people. Um, because they want in on the Genedium trade also. And a negotiation was set up between the head of the Iron Shadow and Mr. Richardson, the person who controls most of the Genedium on the inlet. But while that negotiation was going on, the party wandered off. And they came up with this idea of this magical box that could create anything. So they set off to create this box. After stopping at a mortuary and actually making the box out of two dwarf-sized coffins, they took it to a high-level mage that lived on the edge of the island by the sea. And he said he would cast the spells necessary to create the box. But in return, they had to do something for him, which was to find an artifact which would enable him to retake his kingdom that he had been exiled from. And where we start tonight is you guys were about to get on to board your ship, the Storm Dragon, and head toward the island of Ostrander on the far west continent to try and find some information about this artifact you were looking for. And you're hoping not to have to wander off into the wastelands on the to the far west of the continent. But you won't know those things until you get there and do your research. So, so you guys are boarding ship. Tell me what you're doing.
I'm boarding the ship with all my scroll writing components and the 7 little wizard kids that I've hired to write scrolls for me.
You started a floating wizard assistant school just to help you write more scrolls. And what does Lucid do with this ever-growing pile of scrolls that he's writing?
Mostly they're just backup spells, so I don't ever run out. Eventually I will open a magic shop / scroll repository.
Because you make them faster than you use them. So there's this pile of scrolls growing, and pretty soon you're going to have an entire cabinet just to keep them in.
once we have a box that can make anything, I might have to make a cabinet.
There you go. I guess you could do that. And what are you doing?
Well, as I'm boarding, I'm kind of thinking to myself that as well as trying to get information on this Crown of Tandan thing we're supposed to be finding, we should also try to get some information on the wizard because he never actually told us why he was exiled. So I'm thinking maybe we should figure out some shit about him too. Maybe we don't want to give this thing to him and have him return to his village or whatever and rule it. So I think we should be trying to do a little extra research here while we're at it.
I'm sure he's nothing but a benevolent ruler.
Because
Mm-hmm.
because the only information he told you was that through political backbiting and fussing and stuff that he was ousted from the council. He never told you why.
Right, that's my point exactly.
So, um, you're perfectly welcome to um,
I mean, are we gonna ask around here? It doesn't look like they have a mages guild or anything.
No, once we get to Ostrander, while we're doing our research, we can see what we can find on this guy as well.
Oh, definitely.
I'm gonna have to disappear for just a second. My dog is acting like he really needs to go out, so
okay.
and he hasn't really been out much today because it's been pouring rain. So I'm gonna see if he needs to do something. I'll be
Poor
back in
puppy.
this. I'll be back in a second.
I'll also be right back.
Okay. Is that the deal?
Mostly just because.
Okay. Let's go pee pee pee. Come on. Come on, James. It's raining. Come on.
So your character's ultimately going to retire and open a magic shop and live happily ever after. Is that his
That's
goal?
his plan.
That's his goal in life.
Magic bookshop with a cat.
With a cat. Of course, all magic bookstores have to have a cat.
The cat, you don't even buy the cat. The cat just shows up.
You know, you gotta have a guard cat for the shop. For the shop, it's, by day it's a regular looking cat, and then by night it's this giant guardian thing that hangs out in case somebody wants to steal stuff out of the shop. Actually, I know what you should get. In Fitzban's Book of Dragons, and everybody out there should get that book. Um, there's a lion drake, which is half lion, half dragon.
That's pretty cool.
That would pretty much solve all your security problems right there.
Good boy.
Because anybody seeing that would not want to come in the shop.
Sorry about that.
So, um, so you guys have boarded your ship. To your amazement, your crew has not eaten all the food and drank all the alcohol since you replaced it.
We were gone 1 day. We're down by a third.
Well, you have a dozen crew members.
The stores are set up for 40.
Well, so you get lucky today. It's a nice, bright, sunny day. Um, there is somewhat of a breeze, but it's not really heavy. So, um, it's gonna take the crew putting out all the sails to have the ship move at any decent pace.
To the oars.
Uh, especially since, well, no, that's getting my ships and my games confused. Um, it's gunpowder and brass where you have the cannons on the ship, not on this one.
Are you saying we don't have any cannons? I'm gonna turn around and buy some cannons.
uh, you have a ballista on each end of the ship, and that's the only armaments the ship has currently.
Gotcha. Note to self. Fix that.
So, you guys, you tell the crew to drop the sails and weigh anchor and all that such, and
Weigh anchor, drop the sails, about port. Bring the yard arm around. Jack!
the ship lurches from the dock. Um, okay. One of your crew members almost falls over the edge of the ship because it lurches that badly coming out of dock.
Man,
But, but he is able to hold on to the edge of the ship and not go over.
I guess I go to help pull him back up.
You can definitely tell that your crew is seriously out of practice as far as sailing a galley goes.
I have you all replaced at the next point.
They're like, they're all like, that's fine with us.
Right, they're like, yes, please.
I've had more of my rum than you can handle.
They're like, to be honest, that's what we're here for.
Good thing it's cheaper doing rum than coin.
Because you have a 4-day trip ahead of you.
And 3 days of rum.
You,
I have to ration it, man. I know
you
we're sitting over here with an infinite alcohol flask. Gotta ration infinity.
after looking after looking at the maps, you decide that if the weather holds and you head straight to the northwest for 4 days, you should see the coast of Ostrander by that point. That is if the weather holds.
I pray for storms. Way over there.
Why?
So that they aren't over here.
Oh, you're basically asking that any weather that happens somewhere so that it.
Yeah, because the Storm Lord's not about making storms not happen. That's
No,
not how the Storm Lord
no.
works. It's about making them happen over there, where, where your enemy lives.
Yeah. Actually, give me a d20 roll for divine intervention. Being 5th level, you basically have a 5% chance of him doing what you want him to do.
I got an 8.
Barely missed. Well, actually, what you barely missed was him appearing. Because if you roll your level or under, your deity actually appears and goes, "What do you want?" But we'll say with you getting an 8, you get this feeling that he that your request has been heard, and the feeling you got was not negative. So chances are he will at least help you somewhat weather-wise.
Hey, the weather will probably be good. Unless we need it to be good. And then it'll be certainly bad.
Right. Unless he's trying to teach you a lesson and then,
Full speed ahead, Ben. There's like no wind. We're going like 3 miles an hour.
There's a light breeze, so with all the sails out all at once, you're probably doing. Let me check that. You're doing 4 knots, which for a galley is not bad in a light breeze.
Not terrible. We'll get there eventually.
You would like a heavier breeze, but not connected with a storm.
I only do storms. Sailing along. I guess I fish. Write scrolls.
The first day goes by fairly uneventfully. Um, Although, as you're sitting around eating dinner, the crew seems to be getting nervous
Are
because
we going somewhere dangerous?
what?
Are we going somewhere dangerous?
Well, this area has been mapped, but very few ships have ever sailed through here. And you know how superstitious sailors are. So they're all getting a little antsy.
So I'll ask one of them what's going on. Do they have a feeling about something that may be out here in this part of the ocean? Or
Well, he says, that's just it. We don't have any information on what is between where we are and where we're going, other than the rather sketchy looking map that we're sailing off of.
so this isn't a route you've sailed before then?
No.
Well, good news is there's not a lot you can hit in the ocean. We should be fine. It's all pretty much the same, like water.
There's still things you can hit, like shipwrecks and such like that, but
I mean, usually they're not on the top of the ocean. We should be fine. Full steam ahead.
Well, there's also things that live in the ocean.
Well, I mean, that would be a bigger problem if we were going into some Leviathan lair. That I'd be worried.
and
If it's just uncharted waters, that's fine.
he says, "Oh, by the way, we are going full steam ahead, a whopping total of 4 knots per hour."
I'm gonna blow on it.
So even though the crew is a bit antsy, the first day you don't see see anything that would signal why they are like that. It's just more of a sailor's intuition. And since you guys aren't, you know, real seasoned sailors, you depend more on what you see and hear. And right,
I am just as nervous being out of sight of land. But, like, I was already gonna be nervous. It was a given.
the sun comes up on the second day.
My first time being shipwrecked.
The sailor in the crow's nest yells down, "There's debris in our path, and there's something circling it."
Turn.
So you tell the person who's at the wheel to turn the ship and try to avoid the debris. Um, let's see here. They aren't there. You don't crash into anything, but they get closer to it than you would have liked.
Can we see what it is? I mean, is it wreckage from a ship, or what kind of debris is it?
Well, yeah, there's some shipwreckage, there's bodies of creatures that actually parts of bodies of creatures that don't look human. Uh, they look almost like lizard like. Um, there's stuff floating on the debris. There's a chest. It looks like a ship that has been recently destroyed.
I say to Robin's character, I guess the reptilians don't rule the world anymore.
I need both of you to give me a saving throw.
A saving throw, okay. What
Const-
kind? Con?
Constitution, yep.
Okay. 19.
Okay.
I also got a 19.
You look up, and there are four winged beings circling this debris. You've dealt with these before. You know them to be harpies. And they are actively singing, but you were able to shrug that off and not become enthralled by them, which annoys them. And they look down at your ship with a mixture of fear and possibility. They don't they don't want you to bother the wreckage they're guarding, but then again they see your ship, which is in much better condition with actual beings on it.
Now, are they the ones that destroyed this other ship, or?
You don't know. All you know is that they are circling it, um, so as to be guarding it. It looks like anyway.
That there's at least something there that they want.
Or they could be guarding it for something. So, what do you guys do?
Do we want to try and negotiate, or do we want to blast them?
I think as long as they're not bothering us, we should just keep going. And, if the confrontation happens, it happens, but I don't think we should instigate one.
That's fair. Let's keep going then.
So, the helmsman makes another attempt at turning wide to avoid the debris altogether. And he does even a worse job this time. And you hear scraping on the bottom of the hull as your ship pushes through some of the debris of the other ship. Because for whatever reason, this guy can't manage to avoid it. Um, and you get the distinct feeling as you look up again that the harpies are not happy about this. Do you still want to just try and pass through and hopefully nothing happens?
Yeah, I think that's the best course of action. Unless they attack us, I don't want to start any shit.
Should we negotiate with them?
What would you want to negotiate for?
Oh, noble harpies, leave us alone, and we will let you enjoy your kill in peace.
Give me a persuasion roll.
25.
They're like, stop running over our stuff and we'll leave you alone.
Sorry, student driving.
They're like, find another one.
Gary, you're fired.
You hear, you hear from on the other side of the ship. Fine with me. I didn't want to drive this thing anyway.
All right, Larry, you're promoted. Field promotion.
No, he does a much better job and actually finds a clear path around the rest of the debris. Um, you're hoping it didn't do any major damage to the hull of the ship.
Yeah, we'll have to check that out when we get where we're going and dock and everything to assess any damage done.
Or sink before we get there because.
Or that. Yeah,
Um,
if we start taking on water, we'll have to do something.
that's a pretty good indication that there's a problem. Um, the rest of the second day goes well. Um, the weather is still holding. Um, the
I checked the builds. We're not taking on water.
not as of yet, no.
Not yet. That's distressing.
Um, the night goes by fairly uneventfully. Night Watch doesn't report anything. So the third day comes, and you can tell you're getting closer because you can see the sailor and the crow's nest can see a mountain range in the distance.
Land ho!
And it's getting slightly colder. and but the sea is clear. Um, Sadly, the breeze hasn't picked up, so you're still doing a whopping four knots per hour. But
We'll
e-
get there eventually.
even at that pace, you should hopefully be there by tomorrow.
Are harpies humanoid?
Yeah, they they just have wings
Got a
and
cold person with a rat.
large teeth, such like that. Near evening on the third day, there seems to be a disturbance in the sea itself. Waves pick up that haven't been there before. Not not enough to capsize a galley, but it's definitely more turbulent than it was before
I think I'm
this.
gonna be sick.
Is that Lucid's been on a boat several times and he's never gotten sick before.
It's always the first time.
So,
I'm gonna go to the railing and look out and see if I can see anything.
I go to
um,
the railing and throw up over it.
Now, I'm glad I'm not playing my Friday night character because I would be barfing everywhere. She doesn't do good on boats.
so the two of you are standing at the rail with Lucid actually bent over the rail. Uh, Give me perception checks. Lucid, yours is a disadvantage because you are currently throwing up.
Doesn't matter if it's a disadvantage. I rolled a 1.
Uh, Give me a dex check.
A 7.
You just fell over the railing.
Oh my god. That can't be good.
No, because now Lucid is basically in the ocean. The only upside is that the ship is going slowly enough that somebody from
In the head of the ship.
yeah, Lucid is swimming faster than the ship is moving.
I'm gonna grab my rope out of my pack and throw it to Lucid.
Come on in, the water's fine.
Actually, you notice it's not. It's actually fairly cold.
Come on in, the water's cold and shitty.
Uh, what did you get on your perception check while Lucid fell over?
9. So, not great rolls all around.
Neither of you noticed anything. Uh, you, when Lucid falls over the side, you become, you know, a bit preoccupied with that. And so you said you throw him your rope and try to haul him up.
Mm-hmm.
You're large enough you can do that, right?
I'm a dragonborn,
Yeah.
so yeah.
Give me a strength check just to be sure.
Okay. 17.
Okay. Yep. You're able to haul him up.
I'm back on the ship.
Uh, give me a constitution check.
19.
What now?
1 9. 19.
Okay. You're feeling you're feeling all right. You had wished you hadn't ended up falling off the side of the ship, but you're not injured or anything like that. And as the third day goes on, the mountain range gets closer and closer on your left. And for,
Those are tall.
for
They
some
made the
reason,
mountains back home look like foothills.
well, strange things about this mountain range is the mountains you're seeing seem to have snow on them. And even though it's sunny and clear and the water is a brilliant blue, it, the closer you get, the colder you're getting.
Time to bust out a jacket.
Um, I need investigation checks from both of you to see if you actually brought cold weather gear with you or not.
I got a 5.
You have
17.
Talith did for whatever reason. However, Lucid did not. Uh, he figured you were going to an island. Why would you need cold weather gear? Um,
It's okay, I'll buy it at the ski resort.
you need to make a personal note to pick some of that stuff up while you're there. But the rest of the day, other than it getting colder, um, passes without issue. Um, other than dry, other than Lucid drying out, what do the two of you spend your time doing?
Well, I think for one thing, since it is getting colder, I will put on my cold weather gear.
Oh, you brought cold weather gear? Why are you putting it? I thought we were going to an island.
Yeah, well, I thought so too, but I don't know about you, but I've noticed it's pretty chilly, and I don't care for cold weather personally.
Well,
So.
no, you left an island. You're going to a continent. Um, but you figured when you were headed to the inlet to the black market that it was an island and you wouldn't need such things.
I just carry mine with me everywhere because I don't like cold weather. I'm a bronze dragonborn. Lightning I can deal with. Snow and shit, nah.
You should have been a white dragonborn, then you'd have been like, I'm going home. But so does Lucid spend his dry out time creating more scrolls?
Yes. How'd you know?
Because I figured if he was just sitting there drying off, that'd be what he'd probably be doing.
That is, in fact, what he is doing. Got that waterproof quill and
And what the two of you have noticed is you're hoping that you will get to dry land soon because the cook you hired isn't all that good. And after 3.5 days of this, you're like, I want an actual.
there's Otto when you need him.
Right? That's what I was thinking.
It's like,
Too bad Otto's not with us on this little voyage. He may
yeah,
be still learning, but he can cook better.
that's true. But you force down another meal and the rest of the night goes by fairly easily.
Researching spells, scribing scrolls.
Overnight, as you get closer to Ostrander, the temperature drops considerably. And by morning, there's ice on the rigging on the ship, which you assume is not normal.
To the crew, I'm like, guys, is that normal?
Everybody but the person driving the ship shakes their head at you at one time. In unison, they're all like, this is freaking strange. Like, when we hit land, we're out of here. And about lunchtime of the third day, or fourth day now, the sailor in the crow's nest yells down to look um, to the left of the ship and ahead of you. There is, and you see a large mass of land basically coming into view.
Land ho!
The helmsman says we should be there in a couple of hours. So hearing that, what do you two do?
I go and get my gear. I put on like the cloak that I do have. It's not like a winter cloak, but it's a cloak.
Yeah. It'll help with the fairly light but still chilly breeze outside. You are noticing, though, that the bags you are carrying full of scrolls. You have a large bag on each shoulder full of scrolls at this point. And you realize that they're getting pretty full and you're going to have to do something about it fairly quickly.
I go buy another bag and a llama.
And the what?
And a llama.
A llama? Oh,
Carry the bag of scrolls.
you're gonna have the llama carry the bags of scrolls? Look. Um, well, you'll have to check on that when you get off the ship.
I originally tried this using a goat, but it didn't work out for
Huh.
obvious reasons.
Well, goats are fairly small, and
Okay, so when we get there, we'll go llama shopping, I guess.
goats would actually eat your scrolls,
I was just gonna say, goats would eat the scrolls.
so that would be a bad thing.
Well, that definitely puts a new spin on the dog ate my homework excuse. The goat ate my scrolls.
It'd be more likely than a dog doing it, because the goat will eat anything.
Yeah.
Um, so actually they were slightly off on their time frame. 3 hours pass, and the ship docks in the town of Verne, which is a small coastal fishing village with a its dock area is fairly active because it's the only town that has one on this side that you can see. So the crew ties your ship off, drops anchor, and actually makes it off the ship before you do. They're like, "We're done. You can you can find another crew. We're done."
Alright, so that's obviously going to have to be one of the first things we do is find another crew. For the
That's
time.
okay. You're bad. You're fired. All
We're,
of you are fired.
we're like, "So what?"
So what? Well, we're leaving you here on this continent. Good luck getting home.
Like, "We'll find other work, hopefully."
I get on the Captain Facebook group and blackball all of them. Oh, that's just a modern convenience? Damn.
I, I'm gonna just, out of curiosity, take a look at the hull and see if there was any, how badly it was scraped up with that whole debris thing.
Well,
It sounded worse than it was, or what?
give me an investigation check.
Alright. I mean, not that I know a lot about ships or anything.
Well, if there was a massive hole
You
in
don't know a
the
lot about ships, but you do know a lot about holes.
Oh, God.
okay, if
I
the,
don't neither confirm nor deny that.
if, if there were significant damage to the hole, you would notice. It would.
I don't know about that. I rolled a 7.
Okay, yeah.
With a 7, you notice there are no holes in view. You can't see any above the waterline.
No, you can't. But Lucid, give me an investigation check.
With a 7, you notice the water rushing into the ship, but assume it's unrelated and then
You give me an investigation check.
a 2.
You don't even see the ship, apparently.
You guys, neither one of you see damage, but you do see bubbles.
I'm sure those are normal.
Because even though you got a 7 and you got a 2, the ship botched.
Oh.
So the damage to the ship is under the waterline. But you do notice there are bubbles.
Well,
So there's obviously something we need to have someone fix. So we should find someone who knows what they're doing to make repairs on the ship.
there's only one thing to do at a time like this.
And what's that?
We need to go drinking.
That's You read my mind. That's what I'm thinking too.
Okay. Uh, it's like we have two choices. We can repair the ship, or we can drink enough that we forget the
Hey, the
ship needs
bartender would
repair.
be a good person to ask who can repair our ship. They know bartenders know everybody in the village. They'd be a good person to point us towards a repair person.
So you guys start making your way through the dock district.
I stride through the dock district like I own it, my noble bearing allowing me to instinctually seek out the nice part of town.
And
I head for the closest gentleman's club.
you notice there are a lot of elves wandering around.
Gross. I
Um,
sneer at them disdainfully.
you do see a sign for a tavern um, not far away.
Does it look like a tavern for nobles?
It's in the dock district. No.
Is Lucid a noble?
No.
Right.
Um, you see a sign about 300 feet ahead of you that says the Shattered Chain Tavern. Eh, And on the sign, there's a ship painted with a broken chain dangling in the front of it.
Okay, I'm not gonna say it's a sign, but it's literally a sign.
The other thing you notice is there's quite a line out the door.
Well, obviously we don't wait in lines. Dragon Boy, do something about this.
You're
Hello.
you're literally gonna walk into a tavern in a brand new town you've never been in and force your way in line so you can
I was gonna say I'm proficient in intimidation.
give give me an intimidation roll.
Okay, let's see here. Oh shit. Nope. So that came to 6 total because I rolled a 2.
Meow.
Right?
You try to force your way in line, and the elves that are in line just sort of look at you like, what the hell?
So I look at Luce and I'm like, yeah, maybe we should wait. Unless there's another tavern that maybe isn't so busy, but I don't know.
Well, you can
I
look.
mean, the one in the dock town is obviously bound to be busier than somewhere else because it's like right here when you get off your ship. So
Yeah.
maybe if we go farther into the city, we can find a less busy tavern. But I've
Is
totally embarrassed myself, and I kind of want to get out of here.
You did the wrong thing. You were supposed to show some leg. Gotta seduce the lion.
Dragonborn against an elf.
Right. I
Probably
need 50.
still not
My charisma's only 13, so I don't think so.
still not gonna work.
No.
Uh,
But I got a 26 persuasion.
do you
I can
want to
tell you
go in?
everything.
Do you want to go into this tavern, or do you want to wander off and find another one?
Let's see if we can find another one. That's my vote.
So you walk out of the dock district with everybody sort of looking at you, but trying not to show that they're looking at you. One, because they don't get a lot of Dragonborn, and two, of the because of the scene you just made in line in the tavern, everybody's like, what? So, within a few minutes, you're out of the dock district and into the village proper. It's actually a very nice village. The the dock district brings in quite a bit of trade from various places, so the village is built up nicely over time. Um, and basically tree-lined streets, um, actual paved streets, which is pretty amazing for a small fishing village. Um, as you come to the center of town, there is an open market where people are bustling around getting food and such for the day. And then right next to the open market, there's a um, an actual inn with a sign above it that says the Glass Rose Inn.
Well, this one looks nice, eh?
It's a concrete, well, brick building. Um,
It even looks durable, fireproof,
for,
even.
you see you see windows that go up 4 stories. Those fairly large inn. And then down the street from that, you see you see a spire that's been painted um, black and red, and below that spire there's actually a stained glass window. You're not sure whether this is the library or the cleric temple,
One way to find out.
but that that's down the street from the inn. And the rest of what you see are modest looking houses. So, what do you guys do?
Do you want to go into the inn?
Yeah, I think we want to go to the inn.
So you walk in the inn, and you were correct, there is no wine here. But the tavern on the first floor of the inn is full. The table, all the tables that you can see are taken, and there's people standing at the bar.
I walk up to the poster board and I post a list of all of our crew members and their faces and that they're blacklisted.
Um, while you're doing that, give me a perception check.
Mutinous scallywags, all of them. 25.
You notice, or you see a notice next to where you put yours for uh, adventurers wanted for a very lucrative mission into the wastelands.
Hey, it's where we're going anyways, so we might as well pick this up. And I kind of take it off the board.
A quite elderly looking elf, female, who is standing at the bar, notices that you picked up that you took the notice off the board, and walks over to you. Says, "Ah, you seem interested in my job."
Oh, you're the poster of this job?
"I am."
Yeah, we were going to be heading into the waste on some related business. We figured we might as well pick up an extra job or two.
"My grandson ventured into the wasteland, and I
Yep,
have
he
and I
did.
and I haven't seen him since.
Like I said, he did.
That was 30 years ago.
Very dead.
For an elf, 30 years is like a week for you, 'cause elves live several hundred years.
Not if something in the wasteland killed them, they don't.
Well, that's what she wants you to go find out for her.
So this is a rescue mission, basically.
This is a body retrieval mission.
Or that, but it's a
Well,
little bit more diplomatic than to say that in front of her.
well, she's an elderly woman. She understands that this may not have ended well. She's she's under no illusion that, you know, her grandson is just partying his ass off and hasn't bothered to call.
Well, which is also a possibility, albeit a slim one. I mean, the whole mythos around this, it could, maybe it's not really the wastelands, it's the wasted lands, and it's full of partiers. Could be. Slim chance.
If it's not what they are, it's what they will be.
She's like, basically, I want information. If he's alive, bring him back. If he's dead,
Give you closure.
give me something to prove that he died and I'm good. Um, you you look down at the bottom of the notice. Says 5,000 gold reward for anybody who completes the mission.
5,000 gold reward for anyone who takes the mission?
For anybody who completes it.
I'm gonna have to hold you to what you said the first time.
No, the notice said complete it.
Okay. Okay, so as long as you put it in writing.
She looks at you and her eyes sparkle a bit. She's like, I've dealt with your kind before.
And I've dealt with your kind before.
I'm 726 years old, but yeah.
And I'm 26. Right.
She's like, I've been around a bit. um,
Well, like you said, we were already heading in that direction anyway, so we might as well.
Keep an eye out.
she's um, she says, what I will do is this, and hands you a small pouch. She says, that should cover room and board and food you need while you're here. I'm assuming you're staying here in the inn.
We are now.
Probably. What time of day is it, by the way?
It's early afternoon, like 1.
So yeah, well, we should probably get rooms here.
And if the tavern is anything like the rest of the inn, it's quite a nice place. You don't see any dock workers around. I'd say it's upper middle class, basically. There are humans here, and they're wearing suits and ties, which is odd when you contrast them with elves and dwarves and such. But there are 2 elves at the far, or 2 dwarves at the far table. One's a male and one's a female, and they look to be having a drinking contest. And from what it looks like, the female is winning.
Horseshit. I look around to see if anyone looks like a ship captain.
Give me a perception roll.
20 total?
There isn't anybody in the room that outwardly looks like that, but you could definitely go ask the bartender.
I go ask the bartender.
He, he's like, and he says, yeah, there are actually. Um, fact, he points over to the two dwarves who are having the drinking contest. Says, those two are married. He he's he owns his own ship and she's the first mate. When they're not at sea, they spend their time here drinking each other under the table.
I go up to the table.
He is just about done. He's like really, really struggling to stay conscious at this point. They've look like they've been doing this for a while now. Uh, she is in much better condition, however. Uh, apparently, she can outdrink him on a regular basis. Uh, she says, hello, and who might you be, as she drains the bottom of the tankard she had in her hand.
I'm Lucid Reverie. I'm the King of Storms. And I want to get your opinion on where I can hire a crew. But first, I'm going to buy you a drink.
Well, I won't say no to somebody wanting to buy me a drink, that's for sure. Um, what are you needing a crew for?
We need a long term crew for a ship.
Um,
Our crew just quit on us.
Apparently, sitting around and drinking is too much for them.
she she actually audibly chuckles. She finds that amusing. How can anybody say that sitting around drinking is too much for them?
Wasn't enough excitement, apparently.
She she says, even though I can outdrink him, my husband would even find that amusing if he were conscious at this point.
I kind of poke the male dwarf.
Yeah, his his head moves, but not very much. When he's sober, he is a wonderful ship's captain, by the way.
Right, but if you kept him drunk the whole time, do you think he'd notice he wasn't on his boat?
Oh, I think the one thing he cares about more than me is his boat, so I don't know about that. And when we're actually on at sea, we don't drink as much. because you never know what might be out there.
I completely agree, but I also disagree.
You also what?
Navies are founded on rum.
yeah, I know. But
But do you know a good place to rouse up a crew that won't turn on you if you leave them in town drinking rum?
And for that matter, do you know where we can find someone to do some, I will say minor, but I'm not sure exactly how minor it is, repair on a ship's hull?
uh, I think we can put together a dwarven crew. Um, because you know the crew for our ship is our crew, but they have relatives that are just as good and would probably make a fine crew for your ship. Um, what size ship do you have?
You know, medium,
It's a
eventually.
it's a galley. Um,
That's what they tell me.
it's gonna take quite a number of crew to staff it properly. Um, as far as the repairs go, I can talk to a couple people in the dock district that can make repairs on your ship.
Get it all ship shape.
Well, um, it, unless there's serious damage, it shouldn't take too long.
I think it was mostly damage to my pride.
Mm, actually, it was more of a incident of bad driving. Basically, your helmsman didn't know what he was doing.
Bad driver.
Um, unless it's really bad, we can probably have your ship done by tomorrow.
Excellent.
All right, so we'll definitely be spending a night here then. Sounds good to me.
Um, you guys don't seem like locals, so can I ask what what you two are doing in our fair village?
I'm
We're
here to.
adventurers. We're adventuring.
Hmm. Okay. Lucid, are you still carrying the notice for the?
Yes.
She notices that you're carrying that piece of parchment. Goes, oh, you two are gonna attempt to find the old lady's grandson, are you?
Well, we were headed into the desert, so we figured we might as well look for him.
Right.
She's been trying to convince somebody for last 3 years to go into the wastelands and find him.
You let that poor little old lady wait 3 years for closure.
Nobody's been brave enough to want to go in there.
All of you, horrible, spineless.
Um, 'Cause
Why is that exactly? I mean, I haven't heard a lot about the wastelands, only that it's not a very pleasant place. Do you have any specific information on that by any chance?
let's just say that the people that have ventured in there and have come back out, and she points over to the far corner uh, next to the hearth, and there's a halfling that is just sitting on the floor, basically with his arms around his knees, just sitting there babbling. She,
Right. I'm gonna go up to the bar and get a drink now.
she's like, Jessup over there's been sitting there for 3 months. He hasn't moved for 3 months.
Is he petrified?
No, he's brain.
He's the last one that ventured into the wasteland and came back out.
And he's sitting there rocking back and forth and babbling to himself. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna go up to the bar and get him a drink. You guys want anything?
So we should hire that guy as a guide, I guess. If he's the only person.
I don't think so. He probably doesn't even know he's been sitting on the tavern floor babbling for 3 months.
Conversion therapy.
Version there.
I think he would be more of a liability than an attribute to our.
It's the only way. We need someone to leave behind for the lizards.
What exactly is your alignment, Lucid?
Chaotic lawful. I have a moral code, but it's too intricate and chaotic for you to know.
Chaotic lawful.
As opposed to lawful chaotic, where it's the opposite of that. You make as much chaos as you can by following the letter of the law.
So chaotic lawful means you have a moral code, but you've forgotten what it was.
Essentially.
Like, I know I shouldn't be doing this for some reason, but I can't remember what it was. So I'll do it anyway. The bartender says, if you're actually looking for a guide for the wastelands, you can put a notice up and see if anybody takes you up on the offer.
But if they're not a gibbering madman, how can we be sure that they've been to the wastes?
And you would have to pay just about anybody a fair amount to do that.
Unless they're a gibbering madman, then we can get them on the cheap.
Yeah, but how can you be sure they're taking you where they say they're taking?
I haven't heard him say anything. He's just rocking back and forth. We
That's
just
bec- that's
point him
because
in the direction and follow the screaming.
that's because for the past 3 months he hasn't said any.
I
At least
imagine
nothing that makes
in the
sense.
right direction and follow the screams.
I just let him stay there because he doesn't hurt anybody. He just stays in his little corner over there.
Come on, buddy. You want some money? You want some candy? Come on.
Are you actually gonna go up and try to talk to him while she's getting a drink at the bar?
I do try to talk to him.
Give me a persuasion roll with disadvantage.
11.
What do you try and say to him?
I need you to tell me what you saw out there in the wastes.
He, he looks up at you. He looks into your eyes and he doesn't say anything, but you can, just by looking in his face, it's like the saddest expression you've ever seen. He's,
Put candy in his mouth.
if there was ever a person who was completely mentally shattered, it's this dude.
I kind of pat him on the head and I give him a piece of candy. I need you to tell me what you saw in the wastes.
uh, once again, he doesn't say anything, but he notices your bag of scrolls and he points to one of them.
Oh, you want to draw? And I put it in front of him.
Well, he's he he writes things and he draws pictures to go with it, and the one of the things he draws has large teeth, uh, and then in sort of a random, unconnected thought, he says, things appear and then disappear.
Well, that's funny, Bag.
And then he then he draws something that looks like wind, and underneath it he puts bad weather, and at that point he drops the pencil and just goes back to rocking back and forth.
We're taking him with us. He knows
Uh, do you try and tell him that?
something. No, God, no. Just tell his caretaker. We're gonna take him with us.
'cause you get the feeling you're gonna have to knock him out to take him with you.
I was figuring we'd put a bag over his head or something. It's fine.
Like,
He's a
No,
dwarf. We just put him in a bag.
no,
we don't have to take him with us.
Oh, he's a halfling. We could
he's
just
a
stick him in a
halfling.
bag.
He
Just stick
he
him in a
would
bag.
he would fit in one of your scroll bags if they weren't filled with scrolls. But you aren't wrong that you could probably, if you forced him to go with you, you wouldn't have to pay anybody. But then again, do you trust where he would take you?
No, I look for a better guide.
um,
I guess we'll post it.
See if you get any response by morning. 'Cause it's gonna take that long to fix your ship and get a crew anyway.
Yeah, I guess we go about getting that set up to fix the ship. I gotta be right back. Be right back.
And the question is, the um, after you do whatever research you're going to do, how are you going to get to the wastelands?
I'm back. Did I miss anything?
No. Well, you do have one other question to decide, which is once your ship is fixed and properly crewed and outfitted, and once you do whatever research you intend on doing, which you're going to have to go to a bigger city to do that. Um, how are you going to get to the wasteland? Over land, or are you going to go the long way around by ship?
I think we're gonna go over land.
Yeah, that's what I would assume.
So you're just going to leave the Storm Dragon docked where it is and
Yes,
Yeah.
okay.
we'll pay the dock fees in advance.
I wouldn't pay for a crew until you got out of the wasteland. And
That makes
Right.
sense. But maybe like a ship guard. Like
yeah, it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to have a guard or two so somebody doesn't try to abscond with the boat. But
Mm-hmm.
because if you never make it out of the wasteland, you're paying a crew for what? um, so now that you've done all that, what are you guys gonna do for the rest of the afternoon and evening for that matter?
What we came here to do. Drink.
Yes, we go on a tavern crawl. We hit every tavern in the city. And as we hit every tavern, I keep posting that notice about our old crew and how they've been blackballed for mutiny.
Well, counting the one you came out of and the one in the dock district, there's one more tavern in this village. Or small town, I guess.
Is it the Ultra Seedy Dive Bar Tavern?
No, that's the one you tried to force your way into in the dock district.
Oh, with the big line?
Yeah.
I don't wait in lines.
This is the really fancy, snooty inn in the small but very rich section of town.
See, this is where we should have gone first.
This is called the Silk and Thorn Tavern.
They don't even have cockroaches here.
You walk in, and there's this female elf in a black and green dress that is so thin that she might as well not be wearing it.
What a nice dress.
And she's like, "Hello, I'm Lana. How can I help you?"
Well, first I need some brandy. Thanks, Lana.
Well, one second, and she walks over to the bar and then walks back and hands you a, an alcohol list uh, of every type of alcohol that they serve here.
I ordered something expensive.
It's all expensive. Um, they are having a special on um, the D&D version of dragon fruit infused whiskey.
Specials are for the poors. I'll have a brandy, top shelf.
She's like, would you like that at the bar, or would you like to find a table?
We'll take a booth.
Oh.
You don't have a booth? Build one.
It's an open room, they have tables.
Okay, we'll take a table.
Um,
And I'll have a rum, please.
she says, would you like a flavor in that, or would you prefer just straight rum?
What flavors do you have?
We have as I mentioned earlier, we have um, dragon fruit, we have blood orange, we have several berries that are in season.
Blood
Um,
orange whiskey sounds pretty good. It does.
it actually does be kind of sharp though.
I
Um,
can only believe that would be the whole point.
Cause I've had straight blood orange before, and it's you know you've had something when you taste that. Cause I noticed in the grocery store they have a dark, dark chocolate blood orange candy bar, which would probably kill all your taste buds at once. But
Actually, I've had that. That's pretty good.
have you?
Yeah.
But so, and then there's the standard dark rum and white rum, whichever you
Do
would
you have like a
prefer.
spiced rum, like a cinnamon, or
We do.
I'll have that.
Okay. So, so she takes your orders and wanders off, and a couple minutes later she sets two actual glasses in front of you. These aren't tankards, these are actual glasses.
Made of actual glass.
Yes. And she says, if you would like to order dinner, just let me know. Um, Too bad you guys you already have rooms at the other end because the old lady paid for them.
Yeah, we're already spoken for as guests.
So I assume that Lucid goes up to the notice board, puts the notice of the crew up on the notice board.
Yes, black. I'll never work in this town again.
Well, they came from a criminal island. What do you expect them to be like? They came from an island full of drug lords and pirates. What do you expect them to be like?
We might have to hunt down our own crew.
Well, if you spread the word enough, the actual law enforcement may do it for you, whatever that happens to be in this kingdom. Hmm. About this time, a, ma- a, a dwarf couple come running into the bar. They don't look like they belong here by any means.
Hey, you! You don't belong here. This place is way too nice for you. Get out of here. Layabouts.
We probably don't look like we belong here either, for that matter.
Yeah,
That's what makes it funny.
they're like, we're not staying. We're just telling everybody that we can that something has attacked the dock.
Oh,
Something like what?
The dock is in shambles. Uh,
I guess we head down towards the dock.
Someone
if
must have seen what it was that attacked. What was it?
uh, uh, the female basically is like, best I can come up with name wise would be a sea dragon. If you have a boat, if anybody in here has a boat or a ship down there, I would go check on it if I were you.
Uh,
We got
shit.
experience, right?
We'd better go check on our ship.
So I assume the two of you down the rest of your drinks
Yes. Yeah, not leaving it here.
and you race down the street into the dock district. Everybody's in panic mode. There are races of all types running back and forth trying to get supplies. They've called the town guard who have spears and other weapons, and it's just a complete panic down there. And I need you both to give me perception checks.
21.
25.
You both look straight out toward the sea from where you're standing. Um, the storm dragon seems to be in one piece. What is next to it, however, towers a good 15 feet into the air. When its tail moves, it causes waves to crash on land. Um,
Gyarados.
its wingspan, if it were to flap its wings, your ship would be done.
So it's a sea creature, but it has wings. That's unusual.
It just it's what used to be called the sea monster in olden days.
I didn't think they had wings.
What what a sea monster truly is a water dragon. And yes, they do have wings.
All
So
right. Guiding bolt. Max level.
you
Boom.
you're actually going to run up and attempt to attack this thing.
That might not be the wisest thing to do.
You
I'm going to rally the villagers around me and we'll take it down.
there's I'd say a dozen guards with spears basically attempting to poke it. Uh, your ship is maybe 10 feet from it.
Right, so I need to lead it away from the ship.
Okay.
So you're gonna dive into the water and swim and hope it follows you then, or what?
Well, first I'm gonna blast it.
So you're going to attack it to try and get its attention is what you're doing.
Yeah.
Uh, give give me an attack roll. Uh, if you're or does that spell is that one where you need to make an attack or is that one where it gets a saving throw?
I need to make an attack, and I
Okay.
got a nat 20 for a total of 27. I don't know if you can read that,
Okay.
but
So read me what kind of damage the spell does.
it was a max level guiding bolt, so it does 12d6 damage.
Roll your damage.
47 damage.
No. Okay. So you blasted it. It now glows. The next person to attack it has advantage on it.
And then I run away.
It's very annoyed. It uses one of its lair actions to breathe a cone of cold that covers half the dock. All 12 guards drop. Cause
So much for rallying the townspeople.
cause it does 49 points of damage, of cold damage, and the 12 guards just crumble.
Well, that's why I ran away from there.
So now it's focused on you because you hit it and did a fair amount of damage to it. It's not happy with you right now. Uh, so, what is our dragonborn fighter doing at this point?
I warned you not to attack this thing, and now it's pissed. So, um, it's a dragon, right? Speaks Draconic, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to tell it in a Draconic that I apologize for Lucid's behavior, and all we really want is for it to get away from our ship. All we want is for it to leave our ship alone.
Well, you can definitely attempt to do that. Uh, um, give me a give me an intelligence check to see if it
Okay. Intelligence.
to see how that goes.
And not persuasion.
Well, yeah, you could try persuasion, actually.
19.
Mm, you are actually able to communicate with it. Um, it says, which ship is that?
Not
It,
that
you said
one.
it was you said it was right next to our ship, right? Or
Well, it's moved away a little bit because it's now trying to target your compatriot.
so I'll point it out and say that one right there. That's the Storm Dragon. That's our ship.
It's a, it looks over and it nods. It's like, well, I like the name, but there are no crew members on your ship.
Not yet. Our crew kind of split on us. We're in the process now of finding a new one.
Hmm.
It would be nice if we had a ship to crew.
Hmm. Uh, in these types of negotiations, I generally want something in return, but you don't have anything to add to my considerable hoard in return for me not destroying your ship.
We don't have anything to add to your hoard right now, but give us like a couple months and we'll have a lot of gold.
Yes, we are on a mission that's going to pay us quite well.
Think of it as
Hmm.
an investment in peace.
Well,
I'm gonna blast it again. Blast!
while she's talking to it,
I mean, I guess I'll wait for her to be done. I don't speak Draconic, so I'm like, how are the negotiations going? Good, right? They're going.
and you turn to him and go, the ship's still there and I'm still alive, so.
Right. And I'm contemplating sacrificing our flask of never ending ice
Oh god.
cream. I don't know if the dragon would like that, but
Negotiations are ongoing. I wonder if we can do people flavored ice cream.
People flavor. Yeah, I think it would get along better if you gave it the flask of never ending rum myself, but
yeah, we're not giving that up.
No.
um it's it looks you straight in the eye and basically tells you telepathically that the only reason your companion is not dead is because of you.
And he's running as I continue running into the village.
And it says, I will give you 2 months. You bring me gold in 2 months. If you don't, I will find you. And
Well,
Run! Rally
if
the
we're not
kids!
back in 2 months, it probably means we didn't make it. So
hmm, well, in that case, I'll just take your ship. Because if you didn't make it back in 2 months, you don't need the ship anyway.
that is very true. And if we do come back within 2 months, we'll have the gold for you.
Because we'll have a box of gold generation. Gold cube. Here's a gold cube. Wonder how much a 10-foot by 10-foot gold cube is worth.
No, you mean the box that the wizard's making?
Yeah.
It's a 5 by 5 by 5 cube.
Oh. Well, same difference.
Do you realize how heavy a 5 by 5 by 5 foot cube of gold would be?
My plan was to like drop it on the dragon.
It would take the dragon just to be able to pick something like that up.
Splat.
um, he looks at you. He looks at Lucid and says, I guess I'll let you live another day.
Lucid is like 150 feet into town already.
Lucid ran, yeah.
Start of negotiations and did not stop. That's nice. See you later. I yell with an augmented voice.
He thinks he can get away from me. How cute. Did you by chance notice harpies and debris coming in?
Yes, the debris actually damaged our hull a little bit. And yes, there were 3 or 4 harpies flying around above it.
That used to that used to be a ship that's about your size.
Was that your handiwork then?
I got bored. So yeah. Just in case your friend there was planning to run away.
I'll talk to him.
Have like ballista or anything? Can we shoot this guy with ballista?
And you hear him audibly sigh, and a puff of literally ice cold air comes out of his nose. He's like, I guess I can't kill anybody else right now, so I will go. But like I said, 2 months from this day, I will be right here.
Well, if everything goes well, we'll be here with your gold.
You you didn't discuss how much.
We figured it would be enough.
Well, you gonna give him the whole 5 grand or what?
That's what I'm planning on doing, whether Lucid agrees or not. I'm planning on giving the dragon the whole 5 grand.
I think we should just give the dragon a cube of gold, like just fresh out of the box.
Well,
I think it'll be more
We
novel.
could do that as well.
the thing is, you'd have to go back to the wizard that's making the box. You'd have to go all the way back and then bring the box.
I thought we had the box with us already.
No,
That would be a lot of traveling.
the box is at the wizard's keep. He's
Okay.
he's doing spells on it and such.
Okay. I thought
Well,
all that was already.
What?
We can at least replace our gold once we finish the box.
Right.
How much gold do you guys have currently?
5,831.
You could hand him 5,000 gold, still have 800 left, and then whatever you made along the way would be yours, and the dragon would, or sea serpent would leave you alone.
Sure, theoretically.
That's a that's an option anyway.
No.
No, I think we should come back in 2 months and give them the 5,000 we got from the wastelands if we make it back.
And
So I think we should hire 500 wagons and fill them with stuff that's cheap here and expensive there, and then like do a caravan route to the next city.
and this is all contingent on the fact that the elderly elven woman is still alive by the time you get back from the wasteland.
This is why we should hire the wagons.
So the dragon turns and dives back into the sea. Any boats that weren't moored to the dock are destroyed in the waves that it makes. Luckily, your galley was anchored when you got here. Your ship is now the only large ship still in port.
So we should definitely hire some guards to watch it while we are on our adventure in case someone tries to steal it.
Yeah. So, where do you go now that your negotiation is complete, at least for the time being?
I guess we go find a knight to guard our boat.
Well, you could actually walk into the guard house and you could pick a couple of guards who aren't on shift and pay them extra and see if they'll do a private shift.
I walk into the guardhouse and I cast Detect Good and Evil.
You pass what?
I cast Detect Good and Evil.
The guards are fine. The,
Are they neutral? Are they good?
mm,
Are some of them good? Are some of them neutral?
most of them are good. There's one or two that would be considered true neutral.
Well, I avoid those guys. I hire the guys that are good.
There's three or four uh, dwarven looking guards just sort of lounging around on their bunks.
Hello, boys. Do you like money?
Of course, we like money, it buys ale.
Do you like money and ale?
Do you not know dwarves?
Do you like guarding boats? No, but would you do it for money and ale?
Mm, how long are we talking?
Indefinitely.
At least a month or two.
mm,
The rest of your lives, money and beer.
only if you pay us in advance.
I'm not going to pay you in advance for the rest of your lives.
Well, we're not gonna guard it for the rest of our life. That could be thousands of years. Why would we do that?
Because it would be thousands of gold.
And if we're guarding the ship forever, when would we have time to drink the ale you keep talking about?
In shifts while you guard the ship? Well, here's 100 gold. You work this out amongst yourselves. Make sure my ship don't go missing.
We can do that, except if the if that dragon comes back, you're on your own.
Okay, you don't have to defend it from the dragon. No one was talking about defending it from the dragon.
No, we basically meant from any human or humanoid creatures that try to steal it for themselves.
I'm not gonna leave it at human or humanoid. I'm gonna leave it at, like, mortal creatures.
Okay,
Mortal creatures that you
but
can kill.
but the dragon, yeah, we don't expect you to be. We don't, for one thing, expect you to be able to defend it from the dragon.
Yeah.
Most contracts have clauses for dragons that allow you to trade them an invented dragon.
Yeah, they're like,
Contracts these days.
like, in the event of the possibility of us becoming dragon kibble, we're out here.
Well, that is completely understandable and well within your rights.
But we will guard your ship up until that point. And they take the 100 gold and divide it amongst themselves. They grab their gear and head toward the dock. And it's easy to find your ship because it's the only one there now. And they're like, okay. The senior of them is like, okay, one on each side. They just sit there. with their swords and their shields and their gear, and they're like, okay,
Alright, see you in 3 years.
you better make it back before that. Because if the dragon shows up in 2 months and you're not there, the dragon's taking the boat anyway. And the dwarves aren't going to stop.
You don't have to stop that. You just have to get my gold off first.
They're like, hold it, you have gold on this ship.
No.
They're like, you are extremely confusing.
Obviously.
One of them says, see, I told you clerics were strange. So now that you guys have that set up, what do the two of you do?
I look to hire wagon teams so that we can transport goods to the next city.
Which tavern do you go into to do that?
I go to the tavern at the docks.
The what?
The tavern at the docks, the cheap one.
Okay. Well, it's full like it always is.
I wait in line.
Well, there's no line. It's just full when you walk in the door.
Okay.
Uh,
Walk in.
the waitress is handing out drinks as fast as she can manage to do it because the dragon sort of freaked everybody out, and everybody in the area is panicking now.
I
So,
post a job for 1 gold piece each to drive a wagon to the next town.
about how many wagons are you talking?
I want to get 50 wagons.
Um, well, initially about a half dozen people walk up and see your notice.
I give all of those half dozen people a silver piece, and I'm like, tell your friends.
They're like, the next nearest town is the capital of the kingdom. Why do you want a caravan of wagons headed to the capital?
For trade, because they need something.
Okay.
We're gonna make some money, guys.
They're like, meet us here tomorrow around lunchtime and you'll probably have the people you're looking for.
So this town exports some kind of food crop or something to the capital.
Yeah, well, it exports seafood. Being a coastal dock town,
Then I'm loading it up with fish. I hit the docks. I buy a bunch of fish.
yeah.
And we load the wagons with fish and ice. And how far is it to the capital?
Um, I will tell you here. It's actually only about 4 hours from here.
Nice. This is gonna work.
So Lucid's theory is to go into the capital, sell a bunch of fish, and do what?
Well, that'll make a bunch of money.
Oh,
Then we buy something cheap in the capital and make the return trip, and then sell it expensive in the small town.
so Lucid's whole theory is he's attempting to make more gold.
Yeah.
Okay. You're attempting to make more gold before you go off to the wasteland.
Might as well. We're making the trip anyways.
Okay. And you're more likely to find a decent guide in the capital anyway.
Yeah.
And you have research you wanted to do because
Right.
you want to be completely sure before you risk your life for this wizard dude.
Yes. And a coherent guide sounds like a good idea to me, as opposed to some poor brainhead babbling idiot.
Well, is that where we want to call it, or
Uh, it's almost 10 my time, which makes it almost 11 your time. And yeah, we've been playing almost 3 hours.
Yeah.
And although everybody took their breaks in the beginning, but that works too. So we will pick up next time with you guys headed to the capital uh, with your caravan of seafood.
Sounds good.
well,
And maybe you'll meet Melody's new character there.
or along the way, being savaged by bandits?
Well, she actually works in the library in the capital city that you're going to.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's convenient.
So so you'll end up meeting her when you get there. If you get there.
And if she's there.
Yeah. Your luck she's decided to go on 2 week vacation right before you get there. So did you guys have fun tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always love guiding boat trips.
You have a tendency of annoying really large creatures that can eat you.
Yeah, the whole thing isn't guiding bolt first, ask questions later. That's a very bad philosophy when you're dealing with dragons and such.
I thought it was considerably smaller than it was.
Only 220 hit points.
Hey, I took it down by like a fifth.
Yeah, you chopped a quarter of it off, but basically what you did was piss it off. If she hadn't started negotiating with it would have come after you. See what I told you earlier when you mentioned killing your character off, and I told you there was a distinct possibility.
Couldn't get it done.
She saved your butt is what happened.
Hey, I saved your butt twice, and I didn't have to pull you out of the ocean when you fell overboard.
But you still have the wastelands to try and get through. Yeah. Jessup is a nice uh, preview of what you might end up being by the time you come out.
The dragon's name is Jessup.
No,
No,
the
well,
halfling in the
the
corner in the
halfling.
bar
Oh,
th- that you tried to talk to that drew you the picture.
Jessup.
Yeah. So, uh, I hope anybody who's watching this or anybody who sees it when it comes out on YouTube enjoys it and checks out all of our social media. We just got our Discord link fixed, so you can now join us on Discord. And I'm hopefully going to have this up in a day or two. Um, until our tech guy Josh comes back, I'm doing all the tech and I'm sort of new at it, so I'm learning as I go. But uh, I will endeavor to have it up as soon as I can. And, and we will be back next week to see how our group fares in the wastelands and if anybody ever sees them again. So,
Today's episode has been brought to you by the letter W for wasting.
yeah. Or S for sea monster for them. Yeah. So, um, that's, and as always, like and subscribe to the channel if you like what we're doing. And,
We do this for the likes, guys.
yeah. I,
Three of
well, yeah. And also, I do it because I like to kill off characters, but that's just me. Uh, which means since I can't seem to do it, I have to try harder next time.
Yeah, I guess so. You have killed a character.
Yeah.
Like, not even one.
Actually, in the 2 or 3 years I've been playing since I picked it back up, I killed one character off, and it was hers. One of Robin's characters I killed off. But I haven't killed off anybody else yet, so I gotta work on that. But, so, we'll,
And when the video does get uploaded, I will post links to my Amazon books in the comments, just in case anyone is interested and wants to check those out.
yeah, because you should buy all of her stuff.
Got 3 short story compilations out there so far.
And, and the great thing about our channel is almost everybody who's in it is a DM and has run a game of some kind. So, I think Melody is the only person that hasn't run a game on the channel. We all have really twisted imaginations, as you can see. So, but I think that'll be it for now, and we'll see everybody next week. And
See you next time.
and I'll throw that up for a minute.